Hello, everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of a Tubular Bugle edition. This podcast as part of a Redacted and Turbulance. This audio podcast as part of a Bostic's Jump Off, and this is an audio podcast as part of a Storm Lobostics production. In this audio podcast, a bit of an intro to this sort of peer-reviewed and published works from sort of retrospective works from 2013, and looking at fair process for graduate and mature applicants or matriculants, and sort of reflecting back on the NHS or National Health Service principles in line to studying medicine, or those who sought to study medicine. Of foremost importance is the observation that that the study of medicine is and uh, has been in sort of a demand, and this has increased sort of competition across all types of applicant. Evidence suggests that there are more applicants applying to study medicines than for example, academic institutions can accept, despite the introduction of extra requirements such as aptitude tests. A study had been carried out to inform the process used by English schools for candidate applications, or for candidate applications, and of particular importance, especially when for reflecting back on patient care, is or has been the following. Um, and the following being a direct sort of excerpt from from authors works from in around sort of 2006, where in published works, authors have said different approaches to admissions should be developed and tested. So some med schools select a proportion of applicants through interview, and remaining applicants being identified on a chance weighted process, for assessing academic attainment. The present application application and admissions process would be more accurate if it were geared around selecting for example, which school leaver applicants would make better doctors or physicians. Use of the same entry criteria for graduate and mature applicants or matriculants as for school leavers leads to discrimination. The current single application scheme being referred to as the University and College Admissions Service, or UCAS, exasperates the problem. Graduate and mature applicants or matriculants, though they may meet the sort of entry criteria and have, for example, excellent potential, uh, are frequently sort of left are frequently sort of sidelined, or sort of left disappointed. So the objective for med schools or medical admissions, is to select applicants who will achieve and comprise of good doctors or physicians, regardless of academic or career background. Entry to study medicine in the United Kingdom is based on academic endeavor and the process of often being less than transparent. And so, despite changes in the stringency of candidate selection criteria, numbers of applications to study medicines to study medicine remain overwhelming. So ultimately, the admissions and selection process should exclude all applicants who will devalue the profession, and it is increasing to note the following statement. And again, the following statement is an excerpt from authors works from authors' works in 2005, where authors had said high academic achievement in school leaving examinations has shown to predict a success in empathy. So, graduate applicants may demonstrate a variety of relevant attributes which are not tested by examination, and prejudice may be introduced into applicant selection because academic institutions could open quote close quote, for example, could be comparing two cohorts of applicants solely on for example their solely based on the grading based upon where applicants have grades based on their school leave, for example, their school leaving grades. And so a mature candidate may therefore productively have advanced a career have advanced in around career and in career and works and in relevant areas to find this is not recognized, or that this is not recognized as a valid medical admissions sort of criterion. So now, so in around the aims of this sort of peer-reviewed and published works, it was to propose that there should be a separate selection and admissions process, for graduate applicants to medicine. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This intro audio podcast as part of the Tubular Bugle edition. This audio podcast as part of a Redacted and Turbulance. This audio podcast as part of a Bostick's Jump Off, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Bostick's production.